The last we heard is that the residents there were demanding to speak to President Cyril Ramaphosa. They did not want to see the Premier, but they've since agreed that she can come back. So what happened?
Well, Yuveka, they haven't really agreed on the Premier coming back to address them, but this is just an effort again from the ANC in the province to try and address these residents. They're saying that they need to try again before they even consider going to the President. But the Premier is expected to come to the area at 9 o'clock. We understand there are residents as well. It's sort of divided because there are residents who want to give the Premier an opportunity to come and address them, whereas there are those who, said before and are remaining on that note, saying that they want President Cyril Ramaphosa because their leadership in the province has failed them in terms of informing them. But it's going to be interesting to see how that plays out, because now residents are saying they want her back, while others are saying that no, these people have failed us and we need to get their bosses, in fact, to come and address us.
Okay, now we know that since this protest started in KaNyamazane, they've been off and on. We've had a couple of quiet days and we've had flare-ups again. What's happened over the weekend?
Well, over the weekend, the community decided to halt their protest. They said they'll be, starting all over again today. When we saw some burning tires when we were coming here, but that decision was taken based on the fact that there are events such as funerals that need to take place over the weekend. And the community said, in the spirit of Ubuntu, despite the fact that we have grievances that we need to address, let us just halt the protest for now and allow those events to take place over the weekend, and then continue with our strike this morning, which we've seen, but not a lot of strike. I don't know if they are, waiting for the Premier to say something to them that might stop this protest, but that's the decision they took over the weekend.
Now, the other concern was children not being allowed to go to school, not being able to go to school. On this Monday morning, have you seen kids going to class?
Well, there's still a bit of confusion, especially from pupils, as to whether to go to school or not. We've seen a lot of them coming in their uniform. It's a promising scene this morning, because we're seeing as well teachers in their cars coming to the school. But some school pupils are saying it's kind of empty, so they do not understand what's happening. It's empty inside the school, and they do not understand. Some of their peers are not at school yet, and they do not know if the schools will be open today. But we're seeing a more promising KaNyamazane in terms of like the roads are accessible. You can maneuver to different places, but school children are also going to school as we speak. We saw a number of them going inside, but there's still that confusion as to is it opening or not, and a lot of pupils checking if the school will be open today. Yeah,
we can see behind you that many of them are attempting to get to class this morning. And when we spoke last week, Linda, we also saw that there was lots of damage. You showed us pavements and sidewalks that have been damaged, bricks thrown onto roads. We also saw at the start of this protest the looting of shops, and government saying that there was a criminal element. Do we know what's happened with investigations into those incidents, and have they managed to clean up the streets by now?
Well, the streets are clean, yes. The police have been doing a lot of cleaning up on the roads to make sure that traffic is flowing. But in terms of the criminal element actually being rooted out from these protests, no investigations whatsoever were done in regard with that. But police were simply monitoring the situation and monitoring these areas, patrolling with cars around the community to ensure that everything is fine. But we understand that, there hasn't been probe into that matter in terms of finding these criminals that have done this. You'd understand that it's also difficult, considering that there was a number of people who actually participated in this crime in terms of the looting and the destruction of property. But there hasn't been any arrest in that regard that we've heard of at this point in time.
Okay.